Evening, I'll call to order the regular meeting of the Hampton Township Council for Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. We will start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ms. Blackburn? Ms. Fritsch?
Present.
Mr. Midgley?
Present.
Mr. Shuley?
Present.
Dr. Johnson?
Present.
Mr. Speakman?
Present.
Ms. Blackburn is excused this evening. All right, first item on the agenda are the minutes from the regular meeting held Wednesday, June 26, 2024, and the agenda meeting held July 10th, 2024. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Shuley?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor. All right, citizens' agenda matters. If anyone has anything that they would like to address the council, please step up to the microphone and state your name and address and your concern.
Hello, my name's Al Whirling, resident of Hampton Township for 65 years. I live on Talakavy Road. I'm going to kind of wing this, but has anyone heard how they've been reflooding the Florida Everglades because someone made a big mistake back in the 20s?
No. Yes, actually.
I have not, and I'm sorry, how is that relevant to Hampton
Vaguely.
Township?
South Pioneer is, in my opinion, a big mistake, putting duplexes on that precipice of the turnpike. And how long is it going to take before that turns into a blighted area? And I'm going to keep it real short, so I'm against it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Whirling. Anyone else? All right, moving on to administration. First item on the agenda is the North Hills COG report. We met last week. Essentially, if we do have room for salt, we should order it before the end of August, after which the price will increase as we'll be starting the second base year of the contract. The watershed maps are still being updated by the Allegheny County Conservation District. We should hopefully be getting those soon. And all municipalities going through the renewal process for the Verizon franchise signed on with Cohen Law Group. So we will be getting the 20% discount towards the legal fees. The kickoff meeting will be in the next few weeks with all of the municipalities. Let's see, the Public Works show that was held June 6th was very well attended with all the municipalities and several of the water authorities present. There were over 280 participants, and they have considered what changes and how they want to improve the show for next year. And lastly, I just want to point that several of the member communities have received some rather amazing grants in recent months, including Sharpsburg, which received $25 million for infrastructure and $132,000 for stormwater. Westview and Etna also received very large grants. So apparently it's been a very good year for grants so far. All right, Water Authority monthly report.
I do not have anything.
Okay, give me one moment.
Sure.
All right, sorry about that alarm. Engineers monthly report. Anything to add or any questions?
I have nothing to add.
Legal counsel monthly report. Anything to add or any questions?
Thank you, Madam President. I have nothing to add.
Controller's monthly report. Anything to add?
I'm never this early in the discussion.
I know, we had nothing on the agenda to decide, or under administration to
yeah.
decide.
I'll make up for that next month.
There have not been any
Don't say
substantial
that.
changes since last month, with the exception of additional expenses for the storm cleanup. EIT revenue continues to exceed budget and the same period last year. We recently received a bill for municipal liens filed by Jordan for stormwater management. The bill was $25,000 plus, and that got Mr. Omasini and my attention. So we had a little discussion today with Jordan to better understand the details of that bill. There were 166 liens filed, and the cost for filing the liens is about $150 a piece, so that comes up to the $25,000. The value of those liens that were filed was $86,000. So the filing cost, we learned, is satisfied when the well, let me re-say that. Jordan will then send, once the lien has been filed, they'll send the lien to the mortgage company if there is a mortgage on the property. The mortgage company will pay the lien. They don't wait, so everything is not waiting until the property is sold to realize, to satisfy the lien. The mortgage company keeps it current. And so if we looked at this year, we've received about $85,000 in delinquent stormwater management fees. So it somewhat shows that that process is working, and we may be a little bit tardy. And they wait for 2 to 3 years before they file a lien on a property that hasn't been paid. So that was just a little piece of interesting information. Learning every day on the job.
So for the properties that are liened that do not have a mortgage, we do have to wait until those are sold for the lien to be settled?
Or if they decide to pay upon receiving a notice again from Jordan, because the property owners do get a copy of that a lien has been applied.
Thank you.
Yep. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. They said you're well acquainted with the process.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay. Information Technology Monthly Report. Anything to add or any comment, any questions?
The only thing I would say is several projects they've been undertaking have finished up over the last few months. Software updates, access control is pretty much completed. Adam's actually sitting over there has been working on that project. And next Friday, we have a pre-proposal meeting for the RFP for managed IT services. We have about 7 firms interested right now. So hopefully we get competitive bids.
Hopefully. All right, I have nothing to add to the library report unless there are questions. All right, Public Safety. Chief, monthly report, anything to add?
I have nothing to add, unless there are questions.
Are you handling the EMS report, or are we?
The only thing I was going to say is they're really pushing for subscriptions. I think, what did I see, Hampton, 27%, I believe, right now, is what they're looking at in terms of the subscription rate for households in the township of Hampton. So if you're out there, Shaler Hampton EMS is an incredible EMS service. I would encourage you to subscribe. There's savings in it for you should you need the service, and you never know when you might need it.
So there was an inclusion in your packet that was a memorandum from Eric, since he wasn't going to be here.
Yeah.
So he was asking, since Bethany's not here, I guess I'm the one that has to deliver the message, to ask everybody that if you have any social media presence. There was an example of what was done in Etna. Don't use Etna, use Hampton.
Yes.
But if on social
think we
media,
can
you could do
handle
something to promote on, if you have a Facebook or whatever else, post in Hampton to put it out there.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, Community Services.
Defer to J.R. Young, our Director of Facilities.
You had to introduce me this time.
Yes, I will.
Good evening. Again, here to seek authorization for a budget amount of capital of $250,000 for the municipal renovation. So the proposals is what we're looking for approval on, and actually the whole budget and whole from the spreadsheet that you all have in your hands. So I'm just going to run through the budget spreadsheet. For general construction is at $36,600 from Diltz Enterprises. That includes everything, paint, install and remove carpet, install and remove older ceiling tile, opening of a wall and a through door for permitting area, and furniture removal with a little bit of electrical and data kind of cleanup for the new furniture that goes in. So with that 36.6, you have a contingency of 10%, which is $3,600. I don't see much going over that contingency on that amount. Moving down to soft costs, FF&E, we have some moving supplies, moving boxes and tape, et cetera, for the staff, and then dumpster fees if we incur that by any means, at a total of $2,500 with a 10% contingency of $250. Going down to FF&E, our biggest cost is the furniture from Corbett Inc. That cost is $144,000. The proposal you have in your hand is $143,357.20. Then we have the storage solution of $22,000, which is from DSS. Again, that is the actual cost on that is $21,937.76. Then we move down to flooring, which is from Shaw Direct Purchase at $10,483. Window treatments at roughly about $5,000. And then fire detection system, which that's the only bid that you don't have in your hand. I'm still waiting on a third one. The one that I have the lowest right now is right around $14,500. So estimated that I have that at 15, with a subtotal of $196,483 with a 5% contingency of $9,824. So that brings us to a contingency total of $13,484 with a total cost of $249,317. So the proposals, again, KI Corbett is a CoStarz, DSS, which is the solution system for the storage unit right behind me. To have that redone, that is a CoStarz as well. Shaw Carpet, even though they're under that threshold, they are through KPN, I believe.
Yes.
KPN?
Mhm.
Okay, and then Diltz is the last one, and Diltz is the trades contract. So, and then the last one I have is the fire detection, which I'll submit that once I have that third bid. So, any questions?
Can you remind me what the total is that you're looking for us to authorize at this point?
Right now, besides the 15,000, minus 15,000 minus the 249,317. Fire detection is the only one I don't have to be approved.
$249 minus 15?
Yeah.
235-ish.
Yeah. 235, probably get you there with the
235.
contingency, yes.
With the contingency
With the contingency,
included?
235 would include the contingency, yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, anyone have any questions?
Jerry, so we're halfway through the year, a little more than halfway through the year. Is this still in the budget? Does it still make sense?
Yep,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right.
Yeah. We do have,
You-
yeah,
It's still in the budget.
yeah.
I won't answer to the second part.
Fair statement.
All right, with that, can I get a motion to authorize the facilities director to pursue the municipal renovations projects through the capital improvement fund budget in an amount currently not to exceed $235,000 per the memo dated July 3rd, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey?
Favor.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor. All right, Public Works and Parks and Recreation monthly reports. Anything to add?
I have nothing unless anybody has any questions.
All right. Environmental Services, please.
Thank you, Madam President. This evening, we have two change orders. The first The manager and I are recommending approval of the Mealy change order number 11, the amount of $23,428.29 for the door modifications related to the access control provisions.
Anyone have any questions about this?
Jim or Rob, do you want to get a little bit into the history? Both of these change orders, relate to the access control that was not included in the bid for
Yeah,
the project initially. Can you give a little background on that? You both were here for design. I was obviously not. So
Yeah, I
you can-
did ask a
not
couple
actually,
weeks
but I
ago
guess.
why those weren't included
Yeah.
in the original
Yeah.
bids.
There
I'm
was-
just curious.
There was an additional improvement from the original plans that we had. Initially, it was just a few of the doors, but it made sense to have all of them done at this time. Since we're constructing these buildings from scratch, instead of trying to retrofit at a later date, this is the best way and the best security for the facility. We have several areas that we want to make sure that we can regulate who can come and go and to know who is coming and going, specifically our IT room, which will house our SCADA system and all that equipment. It's imperative that we know who is in and out of there and to be able to regulate that for security reasons.
I absolutely agree with that. I just don't understand why it wasn't included in the original bid.
So this is one part of several pieces, as I think you've been kind of primed on. So we have the door access controls, we have the security cameras, we have this area-wide, facility-wide Wi-Fi program, as well as the telephones. When we were at the point where we started getting to this during the design, the township was in the mode where we were trying to cut costs, not add costs. So at that point, we kind of like stopped, put an arbitrary allowance in the contract to cover something. We hadn't gone through physically defining exactly what was wanted until we got to this point of the project. Actually, as soon as we started construction, we started talking about it. You know, once we got into it, it's like, all right, how are we gonna flesh this out? What is it that the township's looking for coverage? We do have some allowance, nowhere near.
But we massively underestimated the
massively
amount of security we
underestimated.
were
But again,
going
it's
to
kinda
need.
like, if we had told you at that point in design that you were gonna need $1 million for allowances for security, it wasn't gonna happen. So, we didn't know, honestly. We
Yeah.
had no idea. We kind of put a number in there and said.
And I know
"This is
security
something to work
costs
with."
have gotten
Sure.
much more expensive
That's
over the
happened
last
too.
few
Correct.
years.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and on top of it, we have the new security things that are coming out where certain equipment's just not even permitted to go in facilities anymore, so.
All right. Anyone else have any questions?
Is any of this required by other agencies? I know that there's a lot of facilities out there that require security. Is this required by other agencies
The
to do
DEP
audits?
does expect us to have our SCADA network under lock and key. And this is the best way. If we simply had metal keys, we would not be able to have ultimate control, as we will with the access control aspect of things. We'll know exactly who and when and what time people are coming and going. All of that is logged in the digital records. So it's much safer, and we are able to allow vendors to come and go and control that mechanism much, much better.
All right. Anyone else? All right, then can I get a motion to approve the Mealy change order number 11 in the amount of $23,428.29 for door modifications related to access control provisions per the environmental director's memo dated July 5th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Shuley,
Favor.
Ms. Fritsch,
Favor.
Mr. Midgley,
Favor.
Dr. Johnson.
Favor. And item B.
Thank you. Second, the manager and I recommend approval of the Calista change order number 4, the amount of $161,104 for the additional electrical construction related to the access control provisions. This is primarily the conduit, wiring, control panels, all the electrical and digital aspects to make this physically work.
Does anyone have any questions related to this item?
Remind us what that is again? Say it again.
So this is the electrical contractor's components of that work. The first one
Thank
that
you,
you,
Of Part A.
employed was, the first one you approved was for the changes to the door equipment per se. This is for the actual installation of the conduit and cable and everything it needs to kind of connect all of it together.
Thanks.
And these are different contractors beneath the
Correct.
2 different change orders.
Correct. Yeah, Mealy's on the hook for the actual doors, the installation of the doors, and Callista's on the hook for the wiring of everything.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the Callista change order number 4 in the amount of $161,104 for additional electrical construction related to access control provisions per the environmental director's memo dated July 5th?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Mr. Mitchley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
In favor?
Thank you. I have nothing to add to my monthly report unless there are questions.
Doesn't appear so. Thank you. Sewer plant construction update report.
We have some show and tell.
Would you like photos?
Let's do the video first real quick. Yeah, if you don't mind. So an overhead coming in from the Duncan end. A lot's been going on lately. It's been a lot of progress made. We're meeting now weekly instead of monthly. A small group of us. They've relocated a lot of the equipment and material storage to the Duncan end of the site now. Trying to free up space on the toner end of the site. Coming into view, you'll see the progress on the dewatering building. They're right in the middle of your screen. Pick up the progress on the digester that when you guys were there last time, it was just getting started. I have some stills of this too, and then the flyover of the SBRs. At this point, they're actually terminating control and power wiring in the SBR tank, so we're getting closer and closer to being ready to go. Areas of the plant are starting to get to the point where we're talking like 90% complete, and one kind of area at a time is getting knocked out. Yeah, thank you. I added this one because you can see on the left side of your screen, right below where the line of cars is, preparing the final grading at the end of toner and the entrance to the facility, where we kept the modular garage that we purchased at one point. That little kind of gray area is the stone being set to kind of put that in its final resting place. So that'll be moved to that spot. Next one. Again, these are the primaries. So the primary on the right is still in operation. The primary on the left is the one that when you were there last, you could kind of, we had the outside trough had been cut off, but they're just starting to work. At this point now, you've got the floor slab poured, the reinforced concrete floor slabs poured, and that they've done a lot of the wall bar, and I think we're going to have another pour here within the next 2 weeks. So they're moving quickly on that on the digester, the new digester. They're talking about having that ready to go online somewhere around October. Next one. Again, this is just a little bit close up on the dewatering building. Conversations this week included, we're going to start bringing the larger equipment in. They'll be about done with they're done with the short block. They're putting the larger block on the face of the building now. They'll be flying the larger equipment in. I think they're talking about maybe even next week, and then putting the roof on the building. So that's moving along pretty well too. Did I have another one? And I think I just added this as a look at the headworks. Again, for those of you who attended the tour, you can see the grid equipment, the white circular piece in the top kind of middle of the screen. But again, more and more progress every day. I'm there typically now two times a week, and it seems like every time I walk through, it seems like, geez, they got a lot more done. You're in a room and it looks like they have a lot done. You come back a couple of days later, and it's wow, they've got a lot more done. So, yeah, no, it's going along very well. There's a lot happening right now. We have 2 milestone dates coming up here that everybody's trying to hit. We have training scheduled for the week of August 12th, training and kind of final checkouts of the equipment. Then we'll have a kind of a grace week, the week of the 19th. And then right now, if everything goes the way we're planning, we'll be putting flow to the plant the week of August 26th. So it's close, but it seems still very far away.
Are there
So-
any more critical pieces of equipment that we're waiting on?
No, the last two pieces of the MCC arrived last Tuesday. I rolled in behind a tractor trailer sitting in the parking lot, and I said, please tell me that's what I think it is, and it was exactly what we thought it was. So the final two pieces were delivered late last week. They were installed before the end of the week, they were put in place, and they were putting all the power conduit to it, and they were still working on that just when I was there earlier this week, so. Calista has a small army of people on that site, electricians, there are electricians everywhere. But Mealy's doing an awful lot right now too, they're doing everything they can to kind of stay ahead and move ahead where they can, so. It's nice that dewatering building's kind of where it is right now, so they've got a lot of work going on over that direction. We're having conversations, we met with the SBR manufacturer.
Yesterday.
Thank you, yesterday. Again, it seems like it was so long ago. To talk about nuts and bolts of how we're gonna actually start this plant and how we're gonna move solids from the existing plant to the new plant and those nitty-gritty details that I've been telling Jim for 6 months, don't worry about getting in the weeds yet. It's time to get in the
Now
weeds
you're in
now.
the
So
weeds.
it was a conversation I think Jim had been waiting to have for quite some time, and a couple of staff members participated too. And yeah, it's all kind of starting to come into focus now. Unless there are questions, I don't believe I have anything else to share this month.
Any questions?
So you're not seeing any slowdown on the workers? You know, we kind of talked about that in conversations past about perhaps they start tempering their pace. It seems like they're not tempering their pace.
No, they are
They're full
driving
speed.
extremely hard to be ready by
And all the trades,
26th.
and all the trades still seem to be playing nice together.
So we have our regular meetings, our regular full group meetings, progress meetings once a month. The meetings that we have every week now include representatives of just the contractors. Since we're involved in the SCADA side, Mark's there to represent the SCADA side, then I'm there to kind of represent everybody, but it's just the contractors. And those conversations are a little bit more frank than what we get in the progress meeting with the full
Yeah,
group of
certainly.
people. But they are pushing each other, working together, shuffling things where they need to be shuffled. It's, that meeting's been enlightening. But yeah, their goal remains to hit this deadline. Calista, they're not typically known, well, they don't. They had very little experience coming into this project. A lot of commercial, industrial, electrical experience, but not a lot in this type of an environment. And, you know, Mealy does this work all the time. It's their bread and butter.
Yeah.
And Mealy has said on many occasions to me on the side how impressed they are with how Calista has managed this, how they manage their suppliers, how they manage their people, their ability to bring dozens and dozens of
Yeah.
people in to assist out of the hall. They've done a great job. They really have. So, I mean, no, there's no sign of slowing down. Now, once we're started, we may see a little bit of a kind of regrouping, but at the same time, we start the first we're gonna start with 2 SBR basins, and then we're gonna build solids. It takes a little bit of time to get all the biology kind of settled and
Right.
doing what you want it to do. Then we're gonna start adding another basin, at some point, we have to start dealing with solids, and wasting solids. That area where we have the primary clarifiers, can you go back to that, the 2 circular tanks? No. So they're working very hard to finish the 1 tank and have it ready. But that entire middle building part all has to be retrofit with all the new electrical equipment, all the new valving, everything has to go with these digesters to operate this equipment. So they had a lot of work to do. Plus, once they finish the precast, or cast-in-place concrete work, there's a steel tank that comes in, goes on top of it, then there's a dome on top of that. There's a lot of work to do there. And if they don't hit by the time we're ready to start wasting, they have to do other things to help us deal with that. And they're gonna incur costs if they get there. So they're very much motivated to get this done. So, I mean, they're already talking, like, how quickly can we have the rest of the plant? Like, can we turn it off first? Can we get what's in it out? So,
Yeah.
I mean, they were pushing really hard about, well, can we do anything a little bit earlier so we can get a couple days? Like, they're really,
Yeah.
really, they really seem to be schedule sensitive right now. And again, they're trying to hit the finish date just like everybody else, so.
Good, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Anyone else have any questions? All right, thank you
Thank
for the
you.
update.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jim, anything else for environmental services?
I have nothing unless there are questions.
All right, zoning and planning, please.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. The first item tonight is the Fry Kane Pioneer Place Planned Residential Development. This was first submitted December 5th of last year. So we have been talking about this on and off for over 7 months. They have been very thoroughly vetted by every one of our engineers, be it civil, geotechnical, stormwater management, sanitary, traffic. Where they are at now, since we had a meeting 2 weeks ago, we have a review letter back from PBE. I had a long discussion with Adam Machenbaugh, who is here tonight, regarding the outstanding comments that he has after the last round of plan submissions. So there are still quite a few comments on his review letter, but his feeling at this point is that those items can be handled in the final phase submission. So this is a 2-phase application type. The preliminary phase, the purpose of that is to demonstrate to the township that the concept is feasible. The final phase is to meet all of our ordinances, cross all the Ts, dot all the Is, and get to all clean letters from everyone. So I've had many conversations with our legal counsel and engineers. I believe at this point they have proven that it is a feasible concept, and the position that I'm in right now is I feel very comfortable recommending approval to you tonight. So that being my position, I took the liberty of having a proposed set of conditions of approval drafted. That was thoroughly reviewed by our legal team, and I have that motion for you guys available tonight. If you would be so inclined to recommend approval of the application, I would ask that it be subject to those conditions. The conditions do include some of the things that have been raised as concerns previously. For example, the requirement for soundproofing in the units, the requirement for a note in the deeds to the properties that there will be no sound barriers constructed by the township in the future, the need for the agreement from the owner of the stormwater pipe along South Pioneer. That should be provided with their application for final approval. So those things have all been included and they are in there, and that's what I would be recommending tonight. Adam is here though, based on a lot of the comments that we have received with concerns about the stormwater in that area. So if you have specific questions for him, I think we thought it was prudent that he be here so we can have someone answer those for you.
Right. The first question I have is actually for you, though. I know we held and continued, I believe, for several months, the public hearing related to this. When, excuse me, when Phase 2 comes in for the final approval, will there also be a public hearing involved with that?
I believe, yes, we will have another public hearing.
Does anyone else have any questions?
So I have a couple questions for Adam. So kind of as Amanda alluded to, and we've talked about it at length here, is the stormwater management piece of this. So you've reviewed the plans, you've gone back and forth with the architect and the engineering group. Can you talk about what is changing from the current undeveloped land to what what they're proposing to develop? How much water is no longer gonna be just running down the hillside? How much is being captured? Talk about the water retention pond, because that's the big issues for these.
Yeah, well, first, we'll do the rate requirement, and in that watershed, they're required to reduce the rate by 20%. So they're only permitted to reduce their stormwater ponds, they have 2 of them now. They added one since the original design. So right now it's currently trees, and in the future, after everything's filtered through the infiltration basin, the underground sumps for the homes, they'll be at 80% rate from the original conditions. We've also been implementing the impervious flash analysis, which is kind of a conservative way to look at the drainage areas in post-development, which that is one of the last comments. That's one of my major last comments that they have to address. And they've done that by installing trench drains on all the driveways in front to capture pretty much all the runoff that they have needs to be treated. So there's going to be a small sliver between the trench drain and the road that gets passed. However, they are over-treating everything else on their site by so much that it offsets the apron of their driveway. Quantity-wise, through our ordinance and DEP, they are required to reduce the increase in runoff, like the volume, not the rate. This is just the volume of water. They are required to reduce the rate, the volume for the 2-year storm. So there's no increase in the 2-year storm there. Their basin's also pretty large, and the way that they've done their hydraulics, I don't know it off the top of my head, but they've definitely reduced the 2-year storm, and probably even above and beyond that, the way that they've run their spreadsheets. Do you have any other questions on that? Like, I don't have the actual, like, numbers on.
So at the end of the day, there's less water going down the bottom of the,
Yes.
out of the property than there is now.
Yeah, the rate will be reduced from what there is now, and the volume up to the 2-year storm will be reduced as well, along with providing water quality and all the buffers that were added on the existing trees.
What I found interesting was how large these retention ponds are. They're pretty significant.
Yeah, this is one of the first ponds that they're meeting their loading ratios. They did a pretty good job after a couple rounds of comments to get there.
So you're comfortable saying that the developed land is better for rain retention than the undeveloped land?
It meets the ordinance. I'm not going to say like a 10
But yeah,
acres of forest.
but the ordinance, the design of the ordinance is to
Yes,
improve,
yes,
so.
Yes.
Any other questions?
What's a 2-year storm?
Right now, it's 3.2 inches in a 24-hour period.
Thanks.
And just out of curiosity, how many of those have we gotten this summer?
Take April out of the equation.
Maybe 2, but like the issues with those storms is we got 3 inches in like 4 hours versus the extended 24-hour period.
So those don't qualify as 2-year storms,
It
those
still
are.
counts as a 2-year
Okay.
storm.
Who determines 2-year storm? Who determines that, who sets that bar? Is that-
That's NOAA.
And has that bar been adjusted at all in recent years? I mean, I just, out of curiosity, given our recent weather.
Yeah, typically, like, when we start a project, it's based off of the current NOAA 24-hour storm events.
You had mentioned previously, you thought they were updated almost, was it monthly?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change a lot month to month, but yeah,
No.
it's running, it's on their website.
Oh, it's a
updated on like.
cumulative average?
cumulatively,
Okay.
So as we move forward in this project and they move into detailed design, if that rate changes, do they have to change their design to meet that rate, a new rate?
No, I mean, right now, like, this will be the design, like, their final design, like, preliminary design where we're at now is they should be able to build it, which is why I've stuck to my letter similar. Like, I don't want them going out and, like, starting something and being like, oh, this doesn't work. So, like, we wouldn't make them update their numbers. And it would also adjust the pre-development. So if your pre goes up a little bit, your post would go up. So it'd be very negligible on
right, any other questions?
I think you said 2 ponds? Are we talking the infiltration facility?
There's one large pond and
Yep.
a smaller base or facility that they are proposing for the bottom 3, lots 1 through 3.
Is that on the map? Do we know?
It's an underground.
Okay.
stormwater. It's that little blue one behind the duplex.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Any other questions?
Questions for Adam or just in general?
In general?
No, thank you for the comments. I was pleased to see the additions in the document about the soundproofing.
Of course.
You know, the call out that the township's not going to be responsible to put soundproofing up, just to make everyone aware. Was there any discussion or further indication of paving the road after completion?
Yes, so I've been in discussion with Tom McDermott at GTN about that. He is drafting an excess weight agreement, which is referenced in the conditions of
Okay.
approval. He has our most recent road opening standards, which were passed in 2020, and that agreement will be as aggressive as we can under that ordinance.
Thank you.
Anyone else? You can go ahead and make brief comments, but I do want, if you have comments to make, but I do want to say the public hearing has been closed, so it is not something that will go into the record for this particular project, but I will allow brief comments.
I will keep them brief. I'm Janet McCall. I spoke at the April hearing. I live on South Pioneer Road, and I appreciate all the help that Amanda and Adam and Susan have given in going over the revisions and helping me better understand the project. I did want to go on the record, even if it won't go into the record, just to say
It'll
to
be
all
on the
of-
minutes from this meeting.
Yeah, just to say that I still oppose the development. I have very serious concerns. I enumerated them at the last meeting. I think it's poorly designed. I don't think it's human-friendly. The proximity to the turnpike, the National Institute for Health says that studies they've done showing that children in particular, but individuals who live less than 100 meters from highways have been shown to have increased rates in asthma, hearing loss, and this is not even that distance. It's much less than that. I think 100 meters would be 3 times the distance that these houses will be from the turnpike. All the flooding concerns that all of us downstream live with continue to be a worry, although I know Adam has done great work, and Amanda too, to try to address those. But many other neighbors on Pioneer share my concerns. But you know, a few years ago when we went through the Windmont hearings and we, you know, shared our concerns, I think many people became disheartened that their voices weren't being heard, and so sometimes it's hard to get people to show up. There are neighbors that I've spoken with who also are opposed to it. So I just wanted to share that. But where I'd like to see us go is we can do better than this. I'd love to see zoning and ordinance changes. You know, Hampton is so excellent in so many areas, and I think that as we look forward, you know, let's think about how we can have better developments that match the standard of this community. So, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to say anything? All right, then can I get a motion to adopt the findings of fact, conclusions of law, and the decision approving with conditions the application for the tentative approval of the Frey Kane, AKA Pioneer Place, Planned Residential Development, Application 23-08?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey,
Favor.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor.
Okay, thank you. They will have 1 year to resubmit for their final plan application phase. So the next item for review is the Four Seasons application. This is the final phase of this. This is a straight subdivision, it's not a PRD. They have met all of their engineering requirements. The last thing that they had to do was satisfy Gateway's geotechnical engineer, and they have done that. So Gateway is now recommending approval. And I have also put together a list of proposed conditions of approval that I would ask that you attach to this as well, if you would like to approve it.
All right, any questions? All right, then can I get a motion to approve the Four Seasons Final Subdivision and Land Development Plan, application 24-04, subject to and contingent upon the conditions as outlined in the Land Use Administrator's memo?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Sholey,
Favor.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor.
Okay, the next item is the request for authorization to advertise for the RFP for the upcoming zoning ordinance update. Before we get to that, did anyone have any changes they would like to see to the RFP itself?
I thought it was very thorough.
Good, thank you. Glad. Okay, so I would ask then for your approval to run that advertisement. I would like to run the ad on August 1st and August 8th in the Post-Gazette. So I would ask that you approve that tonight.
All right, any questions?
For ignorance sake, why the 1st and the 8th?
So it has to do with the time frame that's in our purchasing manual that you guys actually just updated for when you request for consulting firms. So it has to be within like a 45-day, no less than 45 days. Is that correct?
Yes.
I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And so then the Post-Gazette runs their ads on Thursdays. So I'm trying to sync it up with, I want to get it done soon enough that we will have it in time for the budget. So I'm trying to be like before October, so that was kind of where I.
Yep, no, more on like the staggering, why just the, I
Oh,
got you.
1 week in between.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. And the folks that are in this line of work know to look there, obviously, that's
They
ignorance.
will, yeah,
It's
we're gonna,
ignorance.
we have a few we're gonna send out, and let them know that that's
Yeah.
out there, and then I'm
Okay.
probably also gonna put it on the LGA website. So, and then probably also the, American Planning Association, the VA chapter
Yeah,
website.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Can I get a motion to authorize the Land Use Administrator to advertise requests for proposal for a consulting firm to assist in the planned zoning ordinance updates?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey,
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor.
And then my last item tonight is a pretty simple referral. This is over in the Oakhurst neighborhood. So I would ask that you refer the Blanchard Lot Consolidation to the Planning Commission for review.
Any questions? All right, can I get a motion to refer the Blanchard Lot Consolidation Application 24-05 to the appropriate boards and commissions?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Midgley?
Favor.
Mr. Sholey,
Favor.
Ms. Fritsch?
Favor.
Dr. Johnson?
Favor.
And that is all I have tonight, unless there are questions.
Anyone have any questions? All right, old business.
I'll just point out Pool Member Appreciation Day coming up on August 14th from 4 to 6, always a popular event, so. But I don't have anything other than that unless there are any questions.
Any questions? I'll just put a plug in for Pints in the Park. It's a wonderful event, very well attended, a lot of fun. All right, new business. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to add? Any new
I do not.
business?
No.
All right. Then thank you everyone for coming this evening. We will adjourn this evening's meeting.